welcome back to the 10 a.m. shift. I'm your host, Willis Love, and we got a special guest host in the building for WrestleMania weekend. My man, Kunal. Welcome to the show.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to the show.
Sir.
How you doing, man? What's going on,
good,
man?
Bro.
Thank you for
good,
coming
man.
on. I appreciate it, man. Let me tell you guys something. Me and this guy, from the day we met, we've been talking about wrestling for hours. And I mean hours, right? I'm talking about we're in the same spot for 3 hours talking about the same match. So I'm so hyped to have this guy on the show today. Kunal, just give the people a little bit about your background, your wrestling history, how long you've been a fan, man. Like, just let people know, man.
Man, I've been a fan since day one, since the Attitude Era. Stone Cold and The Rock are like my role models growing up, man. Fun little story for y'all at home. I met Kevin here because he was in a conversation with another guy talking about wrestling. And I had to jump in. I just had to jump in.
That's exactly what he did.
Yeah. I'm a former podcast host myself. I used to cover the lead up to WrestleMania 2019 as a part of Talking Turnbuckles. And again, man, I've just been a fan since day one. I watch everything from WWE to AEW, New Japan, even a little bit of the Indies here and there. But it's WrestleMania season, biggest time of the year.
Biggest time of the year, bro. And I'm glad to have you on. And who's better to talk about it with you, right? Who's better, right? Like,
thank you, man. I'm honored.
Come on, and they were like, I don't really know if I'm like really, I'm really versed on the topic and stuff. I'm like, listen, man, we talking wrestling, man. The lead up to WrestleMania, right? What did you think about the build up to WrestleMania?
So there's a lot that, I like. I thought Oba versus Brock, this is the lead up that we needed. Two hosses going at it. The young up and coming Oba Femi, the veteran, the venerable Brock Lesnar, who has been in the game at the top of the game for, over a decade at this point. I thought that build has been phenomenal. Oba versus Brock, that is my match of the night, WrestleMania, I believe night 2. But I'm not going to lie to you. I've been a little disappointed. I thought Randy versus Cody, the build for that has been god-awful. I don't know why we're getting celebrities involved into a match that's been, 20-plus years in the making. I thought, Becky, AJ Lee, the build-up there has been a little disappointing. And, it's been a pretty mixed bag. One that really surprised me was Sammy versus Trick Williams. I thought the build for that, going into it, I was frankly appalled. I thought, there's no reason Carmelo Hayes should lose the U.S. title, but I see what they're doing here. I think we're in for a surprise with that match, and we can get into that in a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely agree with the build up with Oba and Brock, right? They did a phenomenal job. First of all, Oba's not on any show, free agent, right? Brock Lesnar comes out, he does an open challenge. And who else better than the new guy on the block, Oba Femi, to come and take on the beast? And on top of that, he knows how to get guys over, right? It still be Brock Lesnar. And a lot of people have been looking like, oh, I think he has Brock's number. I don't know. Brock's looking old, this, that, and the third. And I'm like, listen, Brock is doing his job straight up, right? Because win, lose, or draw, Oba Femi is the next guy. So that buildup has been phenomenal. And the Cody Rhodes and the Randy thing has been really disappointing. A lot of fans are saying TKO is doing too much with creative, like they're trying to put too much pressure on them to sell those tickets. So they're adding all these celebrities into the event, like we got the Speed and all these guys going on. So that's been disappointing as well. And again, the AJ Lee and Becky Lynch, like, what are we doing with that? Like, exactly. We could have done better with that. Yeah, we could have done better with that. Come on. So I agree on those terms. But one thing that you didn't say that I was kind of shocked, and to me, I wasn't really looking forward to this match, but now I am, is Liv Morgan and Stephanie Vaquer. I'm sorry. That match is going to be one of the surprise matches of the night, in my opinion. What do you think about that match?
Man, I think first and foremost, Liv has done a phenomenal job. A phenomenal job at selling this match. I think what we're going to see from Liv especially might be a generational WrestleMania performance from her. I think Stephanie Vaquer is one of the best women on the women's roster. I think between this and Trick and Sammy, I don't know what's going to be the sleeper match of the event. You know,
Yeah. My dark horse match too, low key, is Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio. That's my dark horse match. I feel like a lot of people are letting that match go under the radar because they've seen it coming for like a long time and it's finally happening now. So that's my dark horse match. I think that match is going to be great because you're going to see Finn Balor, you're going to see Demon come back, and that persona, every time he's in that persona, he puts on a show. So I'm excited to see him in that persona of the Demon. I think that's one of the matches that's not being really looked at, and also the Seth versus Gunther too, right? Because it's kind of like it was
oh
kind of like
man,
a wrench thrown in, right? Because you had all these injuries to Seth's opponents, and then Gunther comes in and he's like, straight up, Seth's pissing me off. Like that's the only reason why I want to fight him. He's just pissing me off. I just think he's walking around with all this bravado and swagger, and he hasn't really proved anything to me. So I like Gunther's take on that. What did you think about Gunther's reason for jumping on Seth Rollins?
I thought it was legitimate. You know, I think Seth has been removed from the main event for so long, and Gunther. I mean, he's coming off of two huge wins, retiring Cena, retiring AJ Styles. Right, Gunther is at the top of his game right now. Seth Rollins, I mean, at one point in time, not too long ago, was considered the top guy in WWE.
Mm-hmm.
I think for Gunther to challenge Seth Rollins, this puts him at the same level where Seth was just a couple years ago, top of the card, being the guy. And you know how
Mm-hmm.
you prove that you're at the top of the food chain? You take on the guy who used to be at the top of the food
Yep.
chain.
Yep. Exactly. I agree. Do you feel like if, because I was looking at it like this, right? The stipulation matches with Gunther, right? There's only so much people, right, that he can retire. Do you view this as like if Seth Rollins wins, it kind of brings Gunther back down to earth a little bit to where he can get rid of those stipulation matches because the fans don't really want him to retire Rey Mysterio. And obviously, Randy Orton is looking like he's about to have another run. So there's not a lot of people for him to retire. And all of the other WWE guys are in AEW and all these other promotions. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think WWE and TKO were kind of hedging their bets that they'd get Jericho, maybe they'd get Edge and Christian back, right? And when that didn't really pan out, you have to pivot. There's not a lot of guys who are old enough to retire on the WWE roster just yet. You mentioned Rey Mysterio, you mentioned Randy Orton. Ray, I don't see him retiring to anybody other than Dom. I think that's how you complete
Mhm.
that story there. Randy, as you said, due for another run. I think Randy has another like 2 years left in the game. You know, I don't think Gunther is going to lose. I want to be very clear here. I think Gunther is going over in this match. But if he does lose, I think this, frees him up from that title of career killer. And maybe you transition him to what Randy used to be in that legend killer, same vein as the legend
Yeah.
killer, not
Uh huh.
necessarily verbatim though.
Right. I agree. I think because they were trying to get the legends to come back from the other promotions and they did it come back, they kind of shot themselves in the foot. So if he does go over, I think they retcon the whole stipulation thing for a little while and like just let him go for titles and stuff in the meantime, like just be in that top dog picture. Because at this point, once you retire Cena, you retire AJ Styles and Goldberg. Let's not forget Goldberg.
Yep.
Um, Once you retire those type of talents, you're past the belt at this point, right? You're in that upper echelon of like Rhea Ripley, Roman Reigns, like that kind of like you don't really need the belt to have a pop, and that's where he is because his pop is being the heel, right? He doesn't want to be a face, like he's never. I don't see Gunther being a face. Like if that would be crazy in my opinion if he ever becomes a face, but in general, like they just need to bring him back down to earth for a little bit until they could get some talent on the roster that's like ready to have that retirement tour, and then you just have Gunther take him out. Like, listen, I've been retiring everybody. This is what I do.
No,
So I'm
one name I
excited
do
to
want
see
to
that.
I would say one name I do want to bring up as a potential retiree for Gunther, Brock Lesnar, man. After he's done with Oba, where does he go from there? Is it
You
time for
heard you
Gunther
heard
to
what he
step
said,
in
right?
there? I did,
You
I
heard what he
did.
said about that favor, right? Oh, he said you owe me a favor, so
Yep, to
you know
Paul
that match
Heyman,
is
and you
coming up. So I'm predicting because this is Brock's last year, apparently. I'm predicting SummerSlam that's gonna happen.
SummerSlam's always been Brock's domain, right? He's always dominated
Mhm.
at SummerSlam in particular. I agree. I think, if there was ever a last match for Brock Lesnar, it has to be at SummerSlam. It would
Yeah, I
just
think
feel
it's
wrong if it was
SummerSlam.
at Mania.
Right, right. It will be wrong, right? That's why I think he might beat Oba because he's gonna lose at SummerSlam. That's why I think he might go over. But we got it, yo. No lie, we have to get Roman and Brock one more time. I'm sorry, we have to get Roman
Oh
and Brock one more
man.
time. Their feud was Cowboy Brock versus Roman. Oh my
I
god.
don't know if there's ever a moment between those two that's ever gonna top Brock Lesnar in the tractor, lifting up
Mhm.
the ring,
Yep.
Roman falling backwards. Like that was such a peak moment.
Yeah, yeah. They're never gonna top that, which is probably why they're not gonna go back to it. But here's a thought. I was talking to our colleague earlier today, and he told me like if Oba beats Brock, right? Who does he go after next? So I want to ask you that. If he beats Brock, where does Oba Femi rule next?
You're on top of the world, you're on top of the WWE. You got to get a title. You got to jump into title chase. You know, I could see if Cody retains, Oba Femi beating Cody Rhodes. What? There's no bigger feather in his cap. You're beating the guy. I think that's the direction you go in. You can make an
Mm-hmm.
argument for going over or for going after Roman or going after Punk. But I mean, Oba versus Cody Rhodes, Oba versus Raheem, like that's a money match right there.
True, and Oba did have his first match against Cody
Yup.
in on the main roster. So that it might be some validity to what you're saying, but the ruler versus the tribal chief.
Man, that is one of those matches that you need to
Woo!
get a WrestleMania next year. Like that is a main event match right there.
Yeah, it needs a title, it needs a stipulation, and that's a main event match. The ruler and the tribal chief. That's why I think they're aiming this thing because I think Roman's going over. What do you think? You think Punk's gonna retain? I think Roman's going over.
No, I think this is Roman's match. Like I
Hmm.
don't know if you saw earlier, he posted a video. I saw it on Reddit.
Hmm.
I'm not sure if he posted it on Instagram or X. Uh, but keep my name out your mouth, Punk. That was the gist of
Hmm.
it. He demolished Punk in that promo that he cut in this car on his way to Mania. Um, I think he's going in with a fire that we haven't seen before. I think Roman is more motivated than Punk. I think Roman is hungrier than Punk. Let's not get it twisted. Punk's a very good wrestler. Punk has had Roman's number before. But man, Roman has an edge to him that we haven't seen in a long time.
Hmm. And he also said in one of his promos, I gave you guys time. He literally said, I gave you guys time. Like now I'm back. Like I want it back. Y'all need me back. Viewership's down, ticket sales are down. So I'm back. The savior is back. And I think WWE's best for business move is to put Roman back in the main chair. All right, man. So we're gonna play a fun game called Pin 'em or Kick Out. Here we go. Let's go. All right, we're gonna play Pin 'em or Kick Out. So I'm gonna ask you a bunch of questions about wrestlers who you think would get the pin or who you think would kick out of the pin. Are you ready? We're
Okay.
gonna do WrestleMania edition, right? Because we're covering WrestleMania. Let's stick to the WrestleMania matches, all right? Who do you think is going to get the pin or kick out? Oba Femi or Brock Lesnar?
Oh man. Oba gets the pin.
Oba gets the pin. Okay. CM Punk or Roman Reigns?
Man. I think Roman gets the pin. I think Roman gets the pin there.
Clean or not clean?
Oh man, that's a good question. I think it's not gonna be clean. I think we
Okay.
get the return of heel Roman.
Seth or Gunther?
I think Seth kicks out. I think Seth
Oh,
kicks out.
all right. All right. Jade or Rhea?
That's a spicy one. Like I said though, I think this is Jade's match right here. I think she gets the pin. And it's
Liv or
definitely not gonna be
Stephanie?
clean.
Okay, Liv or Stephanie?
Ooh. Great one. It can go either way. I'm going Liv Morgan all day.
Cody or Randy?
Oh man, I think you go Randy there. I think Randy gets the pin on Cody.
Jacob Fatu or Drew McIntyre?
Man, you're talking to a Drew McIntyre stan right now.
Mhm,
Somebody who
mhm.
loves his career. But I gotta go Jacob Fatu. The Samoan Werewolves got
Oh.
this.
Okay, last but not least, Dominic Mysterio or Demon Finn Balor.
Man, Dom has been dominating, right? No pun intended there. But it's the return of the demon. You need to establish the demon back. Let's give the win to Demon Balor, baby.
All right, Demon Balor for the win. All right, guys. Thank you guys for joining today on the 10 a.m. shift. My guy Kunal came through. We gave some predictions for you guys. He played pin or kick out, and I appreciate that. Kunal, just let people know where they can find you on socials and things like that.
Yeah, you can find me on X and Instagram at the Kunal Kohli. You can find me on TikTok at Kunal the producer.
Man, thank you so much for joining the show. Thank y'all for tuning in. We'll see you guys on the next one.